Fantastic!
Welcome to Fantastic, where we look over unofficial projects that put the fan back in fantastic. Here we go, yet another show of mine inevitably had to cover MK eventually. To be fair, I have a very good reason for that. Mortal Kombat Genesis is a fan comic that adapts MK1 by Ren and 21. The comic releases batches of 10 pages every couple of weeks, with the latest being today. I was planning to wait until the comic hit 100 pages before making this video, but with the new batch coming out today, on the 17th birthday of my channel, it just felt right to cover it now. It's done in monochrome with the occasional splash of colour, using a mix of 2D art and 3D backgrounds. It gives me serious The Journey Begins vibes in a very charming way.
Guess he gave you the cold shoulder?
I especially like the main fighting arena that's clearly the acid bath from Deadly Alliance, but without the acid. Character designs predominantly come from MK11, specifically with the faces, but they also draw from anywhere from MK1 to DC Universe. But they're not strictly taking existing designs and using them. Simple examples include Johnny being a mix of MK1, MK9, and even his lighter 3D era hair, or Shao Kahn being in his MK11 outfits but without the draconic crap because these guys actually know what they're doing. For a more complex example, Jax amalgamates his MK2 design with his DCU arms, which also draw a bit from Jackie's gauntlets in MKX to serve as a unique take on the proto-cyber sleeves Jax wore in Special Forces. How will he lose his arms this time? The comic even has its own little touches to suit its very specific medium. Kitana and Mileena are given near identical designs as they're supposed to, but because the comic is in monochrome, you can't see which colour they're wearing, which causes a challenge for recognising which is which when you can't see the edges of Mileena's mouth. So the solution is to give them beauty marks on opposite cheeks, Kitana's on the left and Mileena's on the right. It's a detail that helps distinguish them up close, but is small enough that the creators can still play with the confusion at a distance if they need to. And this also creates a hint towards Mileena's nature as Kitana's mirror image and not her true sister, as Sindel also has a beauty mark on her left cheek but not her right. Brilliant. The narrative and cast don't stick to any one of the half dozen prior versions of this story, instead doing its own thing, such as having Fujin accompany Liu Kang and Raiden, or having Smoke accompany Bi-Han to explore that relationship. There's potential with taking some newer ideas and seeing them retroactively slotted into the original storyline, like having Fujin serve as the less stern, more empathetic mentor figure to Liu Kang, pulling from his characterization in Aftermath. This allows Raiden to be more stern and serious, a little closer to his MK1 self before MK2 retconned his role. The fights are short, likely due to the format. You don't want a single fight to take up a full batch and wait for another fortnight for the next one. But it's fine since they're mostly used for characterization. Johnny is a show-off who fights dirty. Liu Kang spurs his opponents much to Shang Tsung's disappointment. Scorpion is a rage-filled killer. I noticed a few similarities to my own writings in MK Chronicles. It's interesting to find other fans coming up with similar ideas and seeing what direction they take them in compared to me. Like Kung Lao giving Liu Kang his bandana, here a piece of his own Shaolin Master attire, compared to me having it be the great Kung Lao's bandana. A more substantial example is Kitana believing Earthrealmers killed her mother. Seeing this make her a vicious assassin for Khan, whose violence even takes Mileena aback, is great setup for her eventual turn to the good side, given how she views Earthrealmers like Liu Kang, and how she may treat Mileena when the truth comes to light. Mileena being on the island with Kitana also gives an opportunity for their relationship to be explored before it falls apart, instead of having it be non-existent like in the last timeline. The most interesting character so far is Shang Tsung. He's introduced showing what seems to be genuine care for Mileena, while she feels like second best in her father's eyes, not realising her true father is right in front of her and actually cares for her a great deal. We also have hints of something being wrong with him, which I think is him aging extremely quickly, necessitating the soul stealing, which is the plot point that was basically dropped after the Tobias era. I'm a little worried about Johnny's writing, which is one of the hardest things to get right, since he can so easily turn into... well, but the focus so far has been on Liu Kang, Raiden, Kitana and Scorpion, so there's still time for Johnny to be fleshed out once we explore him, Sonya and Jax. And there are some neat little character setups already in the first 61 pages. Raiden blaming himself for Edenia, likely tied into Khan's lies, maybe with the part about him killing Sindel actually being true. Liu Kang's self-doubt, exacerbated by Raiden and the whispers of other warriors on the island. Kung Lao being a Shaolin master, going down his own path instead of being Liu Kang light. Kitana's aforementioned view of Earthrealmers. Bi-Han caring about his brother and being mindful of how he'd take Bi-Han's death. This thing is great so far, and it's a breeze to get caught up. I'm eagerly awaiting what cool new ideas today's batch will bring, along with the next one in 2 weeks' time. And you should too. As always, link in the description. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended playlist is Mortal Comedy by Phalus. It's a loose adaptation of MK2, so it's kinda similar, I guess.